Hi, Jeff. Is everybody good to go who played last night, and then plus Sedina, it sounds like?
Zadina was able to practice today, so we anticipate him being ready. And as of right now, everybody that was that played last night practiced today. So you never know on some bumps and bruises, but right now it appears everyone's ready to go.
And just the boost with getting Philip back fleshes out your top six a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think it's cautious boost. I think the boost will come in time for sure. But I think as you saw last night, your first game back's not easy. It's hard enough when you're coming out of training camp and you've been going, and then to take a pause, like we had to take a pause, it'll take Philip some time to get going at a full speed. But it's just the situation we're in, where guys got to try to get back to full speed as fast as they can. The one thing I'd say with Philip is, he appears to be, feeling good. So hopefully he can hit the ground running here.
You guys have just gone through having 5 guys in protocol, and I'm sure you've seen the changes. Hey, are you worried about leaning back and not having the glass to lean against? But more importantly, just the state of how many games are getting postponed. How big a concern is that, and how much more cautious can you guys be?
I think we had our first test when we had that group of guys get COVID. We played. Carolina had guys that ultimately played with COVID. That's just the reality of the testing being delayed, and I'm quite certain that's where our guys got it, and it's really hard to avoid that. But our guys got it, and then it didn't spread within our team any more than that. So I think our medical staff did an excellent job. I think we forced the protocols that have been in place to make sure we mitigate any further spreading. And I think our guys did a real good job. Our staff did a real good job of that. Our players did a good job of that. You got to do it the best you can. The problem in ice hockey is, we play in a rink where the humidity is dry and the air is cool. And my understanding with the research I've done is that potentially lets that virus sit right there in the air, and it doesn't dissipate. So when one team has it and you play a game, it's hard. And the testing is, you don't get an instant result that's reliable. So we're in this situation we're in. We got to do the best we can. And, the fact games are getting postponed is unfortunate. But from our perspective, we just got to keep trying to do as best we can with the protocols. The new protocols in place will follow like we've been following the other protocols.
Last thing for me, just how do you ensure a better start tomorrow? Just, make it harder on them from the get-go.
Yeah, we got to do a better job of slowing them down. So we got to check better than we did for sure, and then we got to also have the puck more. I think it's a combination of the two. The best. You got to check to win. You have no chance to win this league if you don't check. But the best way to check is to have the puck a lot. When you have the puck a lot, you're not tired trying to change, and then they're jamming it back down your throat like what happened on the first goal. They're tired and trying to change. So let's have the puck more, and then let's do a better job checking.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Ansar Khan from MLive.
Hey, Jeff, did Bernier practice today? What's his status?
I think he's heading the right direction. He was out there for the whole practice. I don't know how much he actually took, but he was out there. So I think he's heading the right direction. Availability for tomorrow, I don't know as of today. I don't necessarily anticipate that, but I don't know that for certain.
And with Greiss, he hasn't gotten much offensive support, and then last night defensively kind of left hung out to dry. But does that make it difficult to assess just the way he's played so far this season, or how would you assess how his season's gone?
Well, I think he started out playing real good. I think he just didn't get much offensive support, as you spoke about. He should have wins on the board because of how good, he certainly played good enough to win. I think, like the rest of our team, all our games have slipped a little bit, and I think confidence is a factor in that. We got to find a way to grind through and get our confidence back. And the hard way to do it is, it's the only way, is to grind your way to some wins here. So, we're going to have to I think Greiser's in the same boat. We certainly don't want to give up the kind of chances we gave up last night to start a game. That's no way to give a goalie confidence. We want to make the game easy on him. And I think for the early part of the year, enough times we did that. And last night we certainly didn't.
And this defense, I know you don't have a lot of defensemen who historically have put up a lot of points and scored a lot of goals, but is one goal from the defense through 11 games, is that a concern?
I think our offensive output's a concern in totality. I don't know that it's just on just the defense. I think our offensive output's a concern. I would say that our entries offense hasn't been nearly good enough. We haven't produced enough offense from our entries, whether that be because we aren't utilizing all 5 guys in the rush enough, meaning our D-men, or whether that be we're not creating enough of those entries, something we're digging into and trying to find a way to be better at those areas. So, certainly that wasn't really the main concern last night, but ultimately, yeah, we're going to need more offense from everybody.
Thanks.
Yep.
Next, we'll go to Ted Colfin from the Detroit News.
Hey, Jeff, just talking about Greiser. I mean, if in the back of his mind, if he knows, if he's thinking it's like, oh man, if I give up 1 or 2 goals here, this could be bad for the team. I mean, does that wear on a goalie's mind after a while sometimes?
Be honest and say that I'm not worried about Greiser at all. Like, he's mentally in a great spot. He's been through the rigors of the NHL. He's a really even-keeled person. He knows games like last night happen, and he's going to move on. And, I think he said it to our goalie coach. He's been in those games before, and he'll be in them again. That's just the reality of playing goal. And so I think he's got a good demeanor about him. I think he's in a good spot, and we just got to all grind together and find ways to play better hockey and find ways to win.
Are you happy with the way Mantha's come back here these last 3 games now, scoring a goal?
I don't think you can judge a player just on offensive output. I think there's been moments in the games where he's done what he needs to do to be successful in that skate, and there's moments in the games where he hasn't done enough of it, and it's something that we're continuing to work on.
Sounds good. That's all I need. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Greg Wyshynski from ESPN.
Hey there, Jeff. Good to see you. 2 quick questions for you. First off, you mentioned before the lag in test results sometimes being an issue this season. You think it would all be easier and safer if there was more rapid testing of people in the arena than we're currently seeing?
I don't think it's an arena issue. I think it's the rapid tests, from my understanding, aren't reliable enough. So there isn't an easy solution. We can do the rapid test, but if they're not reliable enough, we're getting tested a ton, and we're getting tested every single day. We've been tested multiple times, depending on the situation. And I'm sure at times they could be used for a supplement like they were when we were in Chicago when we were going through it. I think there was enough lag time in between that then we didn't end up having anybody test positive. So that wasn't the case then I think it turned over to Chicago, but just I don't think there's any easy solution to this. I think these are hard things, and I think the NHL is doing the very best they can, and the new protocols in place are going to try to help it. But to think that it's avoidable, it's not avoidable. I would just say that again. I think our group has done a really good job of trying to contain when we did have guys infected with the virus, and done a good job of not having any guys out because of close contact.
And then on an unrelated topic, the schedule that we have this season with the back-to-back games against the same team in the same arena, how has it changed how you prepare for that second game, knowing that you're going to always be playing the team that you just played?
I've had lots of experience at it, both in the American League and in college hockey. It's not something totally new, although it's been a little while. It's a balance between focusing on your own team, which is the most important thing. Like, the game of hockey is so fluid that you got to make sure that you're doing what you do really well because of the fluidness of it. But it gives you an opportunity to potentially make adjustments in between games. How are they exploiting us? How were we able to exploit them? In areas we can look at to get a greater in both of those, exploiting us and exploiting them. So, it's something we look at and try to plan for. Does it make it different? Yeah, it probably does a little bit, because your clips from the previous game are very pertainable to obviously the next game, where sometimes when you play, they're not totally pertainable. So it allows you probably to teach your own game even better.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Next up, we'll go to Max Boltman from The Athletic.
Hey, Jeff, I remember a couple of days ago you mentioned Hirose maybe being one of your more natural half-wall guys on the power play there. So as he kind of goes out of the taxi squad, I guess, is there something that guys like Nielsen and Helm, like, is there an aspect of the game that you just feel like the value they bring in that would outweigh that for Hirose, or what goes into that decision, I guess?
Yeah, well, first off, I think, if we're going to make the decision on a number of factors. 5-on-5. Just moving a guy to the taxi squad, by the way, doesn't mean that he's out of the lineup. That there's other factors involved in that. But if he were to be out of the lineup, we're going to evaluate 5-on-5 play. And we're going to evaluate then what you bring to each specialty team. And so, you have to have a balance of penalty killers and power play guys. We've inserted now back into the lineup a number of power play guys, and we'll insert another guy who plays on one of the flanks tomorrow in Zadina. And so then we got to make the decision. There's 4 flank positions on the power play. Who are the good 4 guys that give us the best chance? And then are those guys that much better than somebody else to stay in the lineup if they're not as successful 5-on-5? Ultimately, Tampa's a huge D corp. They're big and strong and they move well, and it's hard for smaller guys. And we've looked at different things to try to confront that. So that's what goes into the decision process. I would say the one thing I would say is last night we killed 4 penalties. It was probably as successful a night killing penalties as we've had all season. And 2 of the guys that did a lot of that work were Helm and Nielsen.
Thank you.
Yep.
Our last question for Coach today will come from Eric Erlinson from Lightning Insider.
Hi, Jeff. There's so much speed in the game nowadays, and when you have teams like Tampa and other teams that are so aggressive with their D and jumping up in the play and even leading the rush at time, what kind of challenges does that present in trying to sort out coverage to make sure everybody's covered?
Yeah, no, it's a challenge for sure. And Tampa's probably as good of a rush team as there is in the league, and I think their deep play, especially a guy like Henry, plays without fear because he knows he can get back, and he can do everything forward he wants because he knows he's winning the race coming back with as well as he skates and as long as he is. So it definitely presents a challenge. I think the best way to confront that challenge is probably twofold. One, make them defend. If you make them defend, then you don't have to worry about those sort outs as much. And 2, end rushes earlier. Don't allow that rush to develop over your blue line. It's gonna sometimes, when it does, you got to sort it out well. But the least number of rushes that get into your zone, the easier the sort is. Now, we certainly didn't do a good enough job of that last night, and hopefully we'll do a better job tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.